Hey, it's Molly. Welcome back to my YouTube channel as I'm doing a teaching series now for you on the Descendant, on each of the 12 astrological signs on the Descendant. But in each of these videos, I'll be teaching you more about how to read and interpret these energies in your own chart, as well as things to look for. So there will be different insights and different tips in each of the 12 videos here that I will be sharing with you. And I hope that helps you understand more about these energies in your own chart. So the Descendant is opposite of the Ascendant. The Ascendant is also known as your rising sign, and it's the sign that was rising on the horizon when you were born. And so therefore the opposite point, the Descendant, is the sign that was descending at the time of birth. And typically the Descendant is the dividing point between the 6th and 7th houses. It's a threshold of energy because the first 6 houses in a chart are about the individual, understanding who you are, your personality, your sense of personal development. And then when we get to this threshold of the Descendant, the energy goes out into interactions, connections, sharing with others. So the Descendant is a very important point to understand around how you relate, what you perhaps are unconsciously drawn to in other people as a way to understand those energies more in yourself. So it can be what you seek out to understand in yourself through others. And it also can set up a sense of this is what I need, or this is what I'm seeking in my connections that work for me or that I enjoy the most in my life. And so with the Descendant here, we're talking about the sign, which is Aries on this Descendant. And now people often ask, well, what about the 7th house? Well, the 7th house is how you continually share energies. Typically they're one-on-one. Typically these are connections with other people, co-workers, individuals. These are the energies of exchange, giving and receiving, and how you do relationships with others more openly. This is often an open house, an open energy. But not everyone has planets or points in the 7th house, but everyone has a Descendant, which gives you more insight into relationships. So I'm only going to focus on the energy on the Descendant, but if you have planets or points in the 7th house, you would be bringing that into greater understanding around your relational energies as well. So with the Aries energy on the Descendant, Aries is independent, courageous, a maverick. This is an individual who likes to do things on their own and who has no problem with beginnings, going for something. This can be impulsive, it can be adventurous, it can be a leader. So Aries on the Descendant means you can draw in people who embody those qualities. Perhaps they have strong Aries in their chart, whether that is Sun, Moon, Rising, or other planets in Aries. And with this energy signature, I think of it as the gatekeeper of sorts, where the Descendant answers to this astrology sign and can be seeking out the energy, intentions, and themes of this astrology sign as the people that it enjoys the most time with, where it wants to connect and share. It wants to dig into more of these Aries qualities through other people. And so you would then, after understanding the basics of Aries expressions and archetypes, as well as people who show up in your life who have those qualities, we also look at the ruling sign of Aries for further information and specifics. And in this case, Aries is ruled by Mars. So in this chart, Mars is up here at 0 degrees of Leo in the 10th house. And again, this means that if you have Aries on your Descendant, you would look for Mars in your chart, which could be in any sign, and that is going to give you more insights into how this Aries descendant expresses itself. Now, this Mars in this chart is quite alpha, is a leader, and in Leo is very much about creativity, being seen, recognition, wanting to even have an outlet, especially professionally, the 10th house, for something to take charge of. So there's a leadership quality here that this individual has, but that they might also seek out in others through connections that they are comfortable with. Now you can see here that this Mars at 0 degrees of Leo makes a trine to the descendant ascendant line. So this Mars in Leo trining the descendant is a beneficial energy, as all trines are. So this brings about more action, more desire to do something, being involved, having activities, having things that are explored, perhaps needing people who have a zest for life, who want to be out in the world doing things. So this is a very different type of Mars rulership, Mars ruling that descendant, than, say, an individual who has Mars in the 4th house or Mars in the 2nd house. So this is where it becomes more tailored and more specific to the individual. And so understanding some of these basics helps us put together more of the pieces of what the Aries descendant is looking for. It needs independence. It needs people who can do their own thing, who want to be independent, who want to follow their own path. This could also be seeking someone else to lead the relationship, someone else who is the partner that is alpha or takes charge. Although with this Mars being in Leo in the 10th house, this would be an alpha individual as well, who probably wants to be in charge of some aspects of connections and is going to prioritize what they're doing in the world. Perhaps the career is very important. Perhaps what they are doing on a daily basis needs to inspire them, needs to bring them life, needs to be an outlet for that Leo energy. So this Mars rulership is very important to anyone who has Aries descendant, because it will highlight more of the qualities, characteristics, and expressions of the sign. Now, this can be combative. This can have disagreements that blow up and then blow over, especially with a fiery Mars. So there could be a need here for someone who gets that, who understands that, and who can live with all of this energy, action, and desire for movement. Now, the next thing we would do, or what you would do in your chart, is you would take a look not only at your Mars, but the aspects to your Mars, aspects from other planets that will further tell you more about how this Mars operates, what it desires, how it takes action, how it goes about its life, its goals. And it can show you even more specifics then about how those qualities relate to the descendant. And remember, the descendant is about the energies you attract in, that gravitate in towards you almost more effortlessly, that you feel a natural connection with, because you're seeking out the understanding of yourself through those energies. So even though we're talking about relating and connections and sharing through other people with the descendant, it represents your own needs. It represents more of how you do connections. And so this can also be that people come in and leave quickly. That Aries energy can be fast moving. It can be that there's people you don't need to hang around for long unless you really have something in common with them. They give you your own space and allow you to do your own thing, which is very true for wherever the Aries energy shows up in your chart. So just one way to further understand the energy of the descendant And next in the series, of course, I will move on to Taurus. And in that video, I'll show you some other things to look at, which will be the case with every one of these videos. I'm going to show you more to consider and dive into, because as with all things astrology, it becomes more complex. There's more layers, there's more things to understand, and that's what makes it individualized. That's what makes it more personal. So I hope that this series supports you in understanding more about your own descendant, reading and working with that energy, as well as confirming and affirming what you're drawn to, what you enjoy, what works for you, as well as what does not work for you around these descendant themes. So I'll be back with another video for you soon, and we will carry on and look at all 12 descendant signs in this series.